This is Damon Fordham, Adjunct Professor of History at the Citadel, and I'm here to talk to you about the fact that oftentimes people will look at a person or listen to how they speak or because of where they're from or their cultural or ethnic background may think that that person is not very intelligent. But I spoke some time ago about how the ancient Egyptian philosopher Ptah-hotep, back around 2300 BC, said, "Do not be proud and arrogant with your knowledge, for wisdom may be found among women at the millstones." In other words, anybody can be intelligent, and so don't be arrogant about it. Sometimes among people you least expect. An example of this is back in 1919. There was a lady who collected folklores named of Elsie Clews Parson, who went down to St. Helena's Island, South Carolina, to collect folk tales for a book that was published in 1923 called The Folklore of the Sea Islands of South Carolina. And one of the stories on page 38 of the book comes from a lady named Maria Middleton, who was born some 65 years earlier in Edisto Island, South Carolina, and she grew up in St. Helena. And because of the fact that she'd been born in slavery and more than likely didn't have much of the opportunity for education, she was living in a place called Corner's Plantation. Well, she told a very fascinating story. She said that once upon a time, the group of animals arrested a rabbit for stealing. And so the animals hold court, and they said, "Rare Rabbit, we decided that on the next day you shall be hanged by the neck until dead, so it is written and so it is done." Well, the rabbit went off crying in the jail, and the crowd yelled, "Hang the rabbit, hang the rabbit, hang the rabbit." So while the rabbit was in jail waiting his execution, he got a knock on the cell. Yeah, it was his friend the crane. And so the crane said, "Man, Brother Rabbit, I sure feel sorry for you." But the rabbit said, "Hold on there. You might be able to help me." "Yeah, how's that?" "Well, here's what you do. Come over here. See?" So the next day, a crowd gathered around the scaffold, and they started chanting, "Hang Brer Rabbit! Hang Brother Rabbit! Hang Brother Rabbit!" And soon the rabbit came out with handcuffs, and the executioner came with the rope, and the crowd said, "Yay! The rabbits will be hanged! The rabbit will be hanged!" But all of a sudden they put the rope around the rabbit's neck, and the executioner was about to pull the lever that would drop the door down so the rabbit would be hanged. But lo and behold, a voice came from above, "Let that rabbit go! He ain't done nothing!" And the crowd said, "Who said that? Who said that?" And all of a sudden they looked up, and from behind the cloud they heard, "Let that rabbit go! He didn't do nothing!" And all of a sudden the crowd got scared. "Ah!" And they ran. The executioner cut the rabbit loose and ran himself. And not too long after this, the crane flew down from behind the cloud, and walked over to the rabbit, and the two animals shook hands, and the rabbit said, "Good job, Brother Crane." That story was told by Maria Middleton. Born in slavery, more than likely never had a chance for an education, and was living in a plantation in 1919. Now, this goes to show you how a person may not have formal education, but you cannot be ignorant and tell a story like that. You see, there's a difference between illiteracy and not having a lot of formal education and not having wisdom, you see. So a person who could put together a story like that had to be a person with wisdom. So just because you meet a person who may not have gone to school or may not speak very good English or may not have the characteristics that one would assume would be an educated person, that does not mean that they're not intelligent in their own way. This is Damon Fordham.